afternoon in our wonderful show today, wherein we bring you a guest every Thursday in the afternoon. And today we have a very, very special guest. We had created that buzz all around that our guest has been featured in Forbes, and she has been really, really inspiring people for almost 3 decades now. So I want to call my special guest within no time. And here we have, hey Kauser, how are you doing?
Very well. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you for, accepting the invitation for our show. We are so, so happy to have you here.
Thank you very much for inviting me. The pleasure is mine.
Fantastic. So, Kauser, before we move ahead, I just want to tell people, for all of those who do not know about you, Kauser has been, the founder and CEO of Protocol. And I will not really, let the suspense go out. I would let Kauser introduce herself because she has an amazing story to tell all of us. So, Kausar, for the people who don't know about your journey, and it's quite a journey, that we have seen in your case. The last time we were talking, you were talking about from the time, whether it was your childhood days and otherwise. But, everybody here who's listening, they don't know what that journey has been. So, we would want to know from you that what made Kausar become the woman, the superwoman that she is today. Could you please talk about that?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this wonderful introduction. Introduction. I hope I'm able to live up to your expectations. So, Dr.
Absolutely.
Khan, apart from being a mother and a wife and a daughter and a sister,
Yes.
she's also an entrepreneur. So I call Protocol my third child.
Right.
And Kauser Khan as a person, I think she's a very ordinary woman, but with a lot of high self-esteem, very
Mm-hmm.
committed to her vision, which is driven by
Right.
passion. So that's exactly how I would describe myself. And I think the people who know me would also, resonate with what I say. And my journey uh, when I started Protocol,
Yes.
it was close to about 28 years ago.
Yes.
But before that, I have been a columnist and a journalist.
Right.
And that's how I had a lot of people, and then I had a lot of companies coming to me asking me if I could, if I could train them. I
Yes.
said, why not? I'm not a trained trainer, but today I am authorized to be giving train the trainer internationally. But I'm not a trained trainer,
Right.
and that's how the journey began. And it's a center for confidence building. So we cater to everybody, right from entrepreneurs to the page three people. You have the film stars, you have the aspiring models. You have got we made a pretty good mark when it comes to the corporate training. So uh, we're there. We made a mark which is very humbling. But the reason why I started protocol is only to build the confidence in people. Because I was one person who lacked confidence. It has
Yeah.
been a journey from a girl, from a young child girl, zero confidence, who used to stammer, to a person who is reasonably articulate. And it
Right.
has been a rather long journey because I was told when I was young, and I think they were right. I was not cute. I was not sweet. I was not very talented. Neither was my IQ too good. In fact, to date, my IQ is not very high. It's nothing for me to be proud about my IQ. And I believe that I was no good. And that beat my confidence so much that I used to stammer. And for a very long time, people thought I was this arrogant girl who didn't want to talk to people. Not that I didn't want to talk to people, I just couldn't. I was ashamed. I was ashamed that I used to stammer, and it was very traumatic. It was very traumatic. And at that point, you didn't have a protocol, you didn't have counselors, you had nobody to motivate people, to tell you how you will have to fight those. And I had to do it all by myself. I had to peel the onion. It is a journey of self discovery. What am I capable of doing? Am I here to please people? Do I have a purpose in my life? And what metal is a woman made up of? So it's all a journey on that.
Wow. I mean, I love the way you had to peel the onion and, remove all those layers, because we all have layers at every stage of our life. And we require somebody, a mentor, a person like you, who could just come and help us in removing those layers and help us identify our true vision, our true purpose, that we are looking for. So, Kausar, you mentioned that. People used to tell you that you have a low IQ, but there is a concept of XQ that you talk about. And that was a very interesting concept that came to me. And a lot of people, they don't know about that, because we know about EQ, we know about IQ, and there are so many quotients, that we talk about, but not many people know about XQ. We would want to know that from you.
Well, nobody told me that my IQ was low. I was not very good in studies.
Mm-hmm.
I was very average. I was very average. So IQ is something that is quantifiable. In simple words, it is your if you're a school genius and your IQ is high, which cannot increase and which cannot decrease. So I cannot get anything any better in math, no matter what I do, right? But there are other quotients that contribute towards the success of a person. One is your EQ, as you mentioned, which is your emotional quotient, which is your ability to understand, label your own emotion, able to understand, label, and manage the emotions of others, which is your EQ. We also have AQ, which is your adversity quotient, your ability to handle challenges, your CQ, which is your cultural quotient, which is your ability to resonate, manage with people of other culture, and you have your XQ. XQ is your experience quotient.
Could you
So,
define a little bit about the experience quotient? I mean, for how much experience do you have in your life? Is that what you're talking about?
yes,
Or,
absolutely, absolutely.
yeah,
I have my XQ is 55.
wow. I love it. So they say, your chronological age is one, your mental age is something else. So I am actually relating it to that particular aspect, that no matter, I mean, we've seen young children, sometimes they're so wise, while they are talking.
Yes,
And we cannot really figure out that is that such a small child who gave me a solution of a lifetime. I mean, I never ever expected such a thing. So could we correlate the mental age also to XQ? I mean, just wanting to have my things clear.
absolutely, absolutely. Now, there's a lot that one becomes wiser through the experiences that you have in life, because
Yes,
experiences shape people. But the present generation, I think there is a lot of information overload. And the information that we have gained through experience, they have it by the virtue of reading it. And as you mentioned, that some of the solutions they are able to give us because the way they think are different. Our thinking process, our attitude in life is different. We belong to a different generation. We have different sets of challenges. For us, what is challenging to us is probably a cakewalk for them. But they have different challenges which we will not be really able to understand to a large extent.
I understand. Absolutely.
And that is why people want people with experience to coach them and to mentor them, because they have been there and they have done that. Coaching and mentoring are two different things. You
Yes,
want to be a coach, but mentoring, you should have been there and you should have done that.
absolutely. You walked your path. I mean, whatever you're talking, you need to walk your talk, essentially.
There has to be a lot of empathy. Otherwise, the coaching can't happen.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a wonderful way, because now that you mention empathy, a lot of people, in my childhood days, not even childhood days, I would say in my college years, they used to say, Nirupama, you speak a lot, but, we don't connect with you because somewhere we feel that you don't have empathy. Is there a way by which we can develop that sort of an empathy? And when we are talking about women leaders, per se, though they say it's coming naturally to women, this trait of empathy, but because of the corporate environment, we are expected to have those masculine qualities in us, because of which sometimes empathy goes down the drain. I mean, we become like those tough bosses, deal and deliver, is what comes in our way. So if somebody doesn't have empathy, is there a way by which one can cultivate that? I mean, that's my question to you.
Right. As a leader, as you said, if it has to be the amalgamation of the masculine qualities, they're probably looking at aggression, right? It's very difficult for a woman to be aggressive and be feminine. So I would say take the middle path of being assertive. Aggression is something that is not appreciated. It's a personality that can be very intimidating. So probably what they are trying to say, I hope and I think, it's more the art of being assertive, to stand for what you think is right, without intimidating the other person. That's one of our key leadership qualities. And empathy, again, without empathy, I don't think a leader can make a good effective leader. And how do you develop empathy is through a simple skill called listening. And we take lots on types of listening and how do you be a good listener and all of that. But I think listening itself, I mean, as your question is, how do we develop the art of empathy, is by listening, which has got four quadrants. Hear what the person is saying, and see and observe what the person is saying, and then feel with your heart, and then think with your mind. When you have all these four quadrants put together as part of listening, empathy is going to be the outcome of that.
Fantastic. I mean, what a detailed breakup that you've given us. I mean, we just feel that, listening is so simple. Whatever the other person is saying, we get it. But there are so many filters in our brain that doesn't allow us to, really hear the things in the manner it's being spoken. So, my next question to you is from somebody who's from Bosch. She had met you in Coimbatore, when you had come for a training here. Anjana says women mostly are jack of all trades, but master of none, or a very few things. I won't say none, but a very few things, because of which it gets difficult to figure out that what we are good at. So, how do we identify that when we have to shape our growth in our life? So, could you just elaborate on that,
Right.
Kausa?
Thank you, Anjana, for that question. I think I remember you, right? Because we've trained so many, and it's so nice to see so many women, in our trainings. Earlier, we used to have 90% of them were men, but today we have more than 80% of them women, and it's a great change that I see. Now, coming to the question which you just asked, that one, you will have to be self-aware as to what your strengths are, what are your capacity is, what your capabilities are, and also what your limitations are. What can you do and what can't you do? And more importantly, you need to learn to prioritize. Well, just because I'm good in 100 things, so do you want me to do 100 things all the time? Not possible. It's very difficult. It's very difficult. Your ability to say no, your ability to prioritize and see where it hurts. When you're doing something, does it hurt you? And I don't think you should really do it. And where is it that you're comfortable doing? What is it that when you're doing, you are at ease, you're at yourself, you're happy doing what you're doing, right? So when you are able to be aware of those things, and for this there has to be a lot of self-awareness, introspection, retrospection, asking people, taking a pull back, a pull based feedback, asking people, do you think I'm doing the right thing? So when you do all these things, and I think reprioritizing things and have a proper balance. We cannot do everything and we shouldn't do everything. Then why should we? Well, if you are a people's pleaser, then it becomes very difficult. But I think we should know what our limitations are. I think women keep performing because one, we are duty bound, and one, we will be on a guilt trip, and third, you don't know how to say no, and we have to do it. There are 100 different things that we are doing, but we really need to know what boundaries. When is it that we are going to draw that boundary, and who's going to do it? We're going to do it ourselves. That's it. I can't do it.
Wow, what a wonderful answer. I think, you've actually at every stage, you are giving us a roadmap, being assertive, drawing our boundaries, and, really being aware about our own strengths. So, I actually want to ask you that. a lot of times women are overstretched and overstretched in different directions. Whether it's family, whether it's work. Even work environment is another family that we have. So, and we want to take care of everything. So how do we draw a line? How do we set our boundaries? Or is there something known as work life balance? Because right now we are working all the time, and most of us are working from home. So is there a way by which we could have a healthy balance, and we know how to draw a boundary? I mean, that's my next question to you.
That's a great question again. You are who you are because of the choices that you make. When you say stretch, are we stretching ourselves or we are stretching ourselves? I don't think anybody else can make us stretch. So this is something that we'll have to be aware of. I think we'll have to take the responsibility of all the good, bad, and the ugly state that we are in. If you are in a good position, I think you should take the responsibility of it. So again, I talk of the priority that you have. Sometimes children and family becomes your top priority, and your work is important, but not as important. Sometimes it is your work which is important. At never point in your life it can be a 50-50. I don't see that. And you also have your ambitions, and as you grow up the corporate ladder, the work becomes more and your involvement becomes more. One of the reasons why a lot of women don't take up the leadership roles, but that's for another day. But today, work life balance is something that we will have to prioritize, and at what point we as a woman need to do justice, because tomorrow we are answerable to ourselves. Happiness is defined by ourselves. You cannot put in your 100% at work when your child is unwell, or you also believe that your child needs you. It's not possible. You're not 100% there. And sometimes you are not 100% at home. We see that they are very stressed when we have a lot of work in office, and for some reason we are staying back at home. So that priority, that choice is taken by the person themselves.
So essentially, we define how much we have to stretch ourselves, how much we have to withhold ourselves from the things, depending on the priority we have in life, whether it's the family front or it's a work front. So we can never have a watertight compartmentalization, 50-50, as you said it, we can never do that.
It's not possible.
Yes. Great.
I'm coaching a lot of women at the leadership level who are
Yes.
working on Saturdays. But that's their choice. No, my
Right.
family demands me to do it. I said no. You can say no. You have to learn to say no. You
Yes.
can work 20. You cannot work 24/7 unless and until you're an entrepreneur, which I think,
Absolutely.
right. But then when you're working for somebody, you really need to know where you have to draw a line. If you can't, you have to say you can't. This
Beautifully said.
this ability is something that needs confidence. It's really
Yes. I read it somewhere that no is a hard thing to say, but it is the most satisfying things a lot of times when we say that. But a lot of us have that fear at the back of our mind. Maybe, my boss will get angry, or what if I say no to my children or my husband on a weekend, that no, I have work, I cannot go on a vacation with you. They may just get upset, or I am, and we women get into that guilt trip, as you mentioned, that uh, because of me people are feeling bad or people are feeling upset. So I would want to know from you that what is the correct way of saying no. I mean, we've been speaking about drawing our boundaries and speaking our mind wherever we are finding that it's getting too much, it's getting on our nerves. So what is that right way to say no? Would want to know from you.
First thing is, thank now there are two things. The way you're going to handle a family, personal far life, and the personal laws and the professional laws have to be different. You cannot have one formula which fits all. It's not going to happen. One, know what you want and stick to it. That's one. Now the second one is we'll use both. In a professional scenario, if you have been asked to do some certain things which you are not comfortable with, first of all thank them for bringing this up to you, and straight away say I'm afraid. Now words play a very important role. You can't say no, I'm sorry, I'm not going to do it. So I'm afraid at this point, I see that I'm not able to support you because I have got XYZ. However, if I complete it, I will get back to you. Or multiple, now, depending on the scenario, there can be a time when your boss is asking you to do work, so you tell them, I already have these things to take care of. My plate is very full. If you would like me to prioritize this, can I park this for the moment? Right? So there are ways you will have to watch your words, you will have to watch your tone. You can say no, but it has to be very polite.
What a wonderful thing. I'm afraid I cannot do this because of this. What a powerful formula. I mean, I understand there cannot be a formula for everything, but I am actually taking this as a template to be used at
Thank you.
various places.
That. But in a personal scenario, because you have got a lot of emotions involved over there, and everybody's so-called happiness quotient is linked with yours. But if you have got your communication open with your family, then I don't think explaining anything is going to be difficult. Me as a mother, me as a wife, me as a homemaker as well, have used this multiple times. My inability to join them on this particular thing, I leave the floor open to them, saying, look, I have got this to do, and you want me to come. I'm okay to come with you, but I will be compromising on this. So you take a call, and I'm okay with both. And believe me, if the relationship is very honest with your family, they will stand by you. You don't have to persuade people, you don't have to convince people. It is how open you are and how, what is your connectivity, what is your emotional quotient with them. A lot of people don't understand. It's not the quantity that you spend; it's the quality of time. Me, in spite of being an entrepreneur and being so busy, I still have ample time for my children. To the extent of which you'll say, "Can you do something else and just leave me alone?" I mean, it's fine. I'm just always cooking,
Lo-
talking with them, nagging. It's all happening.
Lovely. So I love the way you talk about having the communication channel open, and a lot of times while we are making them a part of our dream, because ultimately this is our dream. This is equally important to us as much as our family is. So the moment we enroll them in our own world, in our own story that we want to create along with them, I think they will become our biggest cheerleaders, because they are coming along with us, supporting us in that journey. And I've seen so many kids supporting their moms, when it comes to their career. So I think having an open communication is so powerful. So, Kausar, you've been, talking about confidence in a huge way. I want to check with you, were you always confident the way you are today? Or is confidence, I mean, I don't know, but people say some people are actually confident, like in the school days, there were some people who were always those debaters, going to recitation competitions and all. And even when I look at my university days, and can confidence be built upon? I mean, I just want to ask you that. And if yes, can you talk about some tangible ways by which we can, build that kind of confidence?
People are not born confident. Confidence is something that is, it's more of an encouragement. You know what we call as the three A's. In their formidable years, when they are growing up, the greatest need for a human being is attention, appreciation, and affection. If this has been given to a child, then the child obviously becomes very confident. But if this is something that they have been deprived of, I think they have an issue. Then they have an issue, and that is why people are not confident. Because people love to be appreciated and encouraged all the time. Why not? There's nothing wrong with this. So there are two ways of building confidence. One is come to protocol. The second one is understand and please be very encouraging to yourself. Give a lot of attention to your needs. What makes you happy? Most of them unfortunately don't even know what makes them happy. What is it that they are good at? Why, as much as we can appreciate somebody else, why is it that we can't appreciate ourselves? There are so many things that we criticize ourselves for. I think it's so unfortunate, which is our internal communication is not very positive. So one, keep your internal communication with your self-talk has to be positive, has to be very encouraging. One way of doing it, and don't let what the other people tell you define who you are. I think that's not good. And try and meet people who are encouraging. read things which are encouraging. There are so many negative things happening in this world, and I think we just have to keep ourselves away from it. Keep away from toxic things.
Awesome. So it's creating a very empowering environment around you, whether it is through reading, watching YouTube videos, or talking to. Yes.
Whatever works.
Yes, and talking to ourselves in an empowering way. But because it's easier said than done, a lot of times we've been programmed in such a manner that all those debilitating thoughts, all those disempowering beliefs, all those limiting beliefs, they come so naturally to us, and we don't even know that they are coming to us. Is there a way by which we can have a check on them and really reduce that? Yeah, want to know from you.
Yeah, here you have to redesign yourself. First, just sit down and understand, are you happy in the space that you are in right now? And if you are not, what is it that's making you unhappy? Just a minute. Sorry about that. So, what is it that's making you happy? A lot of people say, I just want my life to be better. But when you say life, what in life do you want to be better? Now, there are various aspects, which we call as the spire, SPIRE. It can be your spiritual quotient, it can be your physical quotient, it can be your intellect quotient, it could be your relationship quotient, it could be your emotional quotient. So, what aspect of your happiness is being affected? And then once we have been, it's more about identification of what is it that's not going well versus what can go well, and what is it that you want to do better. Whether is it a relationship, and why is it that you're not doing well? Is it because of the external factors, or whether it's your internal factors? And you will have to learn to start somewhere. You will have to put it into action. As you said, it's we get a lot of things on on YouTube. We read a lot of books which are very motivating, inspiring, but that's very short lived. So the best way to inspire yourself is to become your own coach. Your own coach. Understand, of course, you can also have external coaches who actually tell you, who draw a roadmap for you. But I think the practice is something that has to be done by you. It is a lifelong journey with yourself. It's a love affair with yourself. I think you just fall in love with yourself. That's the best thing.
Wow, fall in love with yourself and keep identifying what is it that doesn't make you feel good. Because as you said, it's more important to know that what is not feeling good within that rather than what is it that we need to work on.
Correct.
So we are towards the end of the show, Kauser. I just want to know from you that final message that you would want to give to the people who are hearing right now and who would be watching the recorded version. What is that one message that you would want to give to the audience who are listening to you?
Well, all of us have the right to be happy, and it's your birthright. Don't let anybody take it away from you. Carve your way, be happy any which way you think you have to be happy, do it, and also stand for what you think is right. Self-respect is important.
Awesome. I started with XQ, but I'm getting a happiness quotient as I'm ending this show, and super thrilled to have you on this show. Thank you, Kauser, for your time. Really enjoyed, and you've been inspiring us throughout. Thank you for giving us your time and all these valuable learnings. These are nuggets of gold for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Kauser. So for everyone who's been listening to us, I would really want you to keep coming back. And as we say, while we end this show, please own your greatness and soar high because the world needs that special you. Please take care. Bye-bye.